This is Kalie Martinez with Synergistic Effect TV, bringing you updates on your favorite live, local, and national bands, including exclusive interviews on tours, album content, behind-the-scenes footage, and more. And now I bring you an exclusive interview with Danny Rivel. Today we're going to be interviewing Danny Rivel.
Hey!
Okay, so for those of you who don't know Danny, he's a drummer for 7 Days Lost and part-time touring with bands as a drum tech. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
I've been touring now as a drum tech since, I believe, 2012 was when I started. First for the Roxy Suicide up in Colorado Springs. After that, I started teching for the Grammy-nominated rock band Tantric, then on the Saving Abel, Puddle of Mud, Saliva, Like a Storm, and I mainly handle everything and anything to do with the drums, layouts, trigger systems, head tuning, cymbals, everything there is to do with it.
Wow, it seems like you've been busy. All right, so how did you get started with that, even though you've been quite busy with 7 Days Lost, I assume?
Back in 2016, 7 Days Lost went into the studio up in Colorado Springs with Scott Wilson of Tantric, and we were doing the band's second album, and there met Scott Wilson, had a great time in the studio, knocked out a killer album by the band, and a few months later Tantric was going out on the road, and he hit me up personally, hired as a tech, and I ended up teching for Tantric, and since then I've continued to tech 6 to 8 months out of the year.
Okay, and so is that why Tyler Trejo has been filling in for you as drummer? For those of you who don't know, that's what's going on.
Yes, a lot of friends, family, fans, everyone in Colorado especially doesn't know that Tyler Trejo of Sins of Man and House Circus is my designated fill-in while I am gone away. And so it's pretty cool that it's a good tight little community, family that bounce back ideas back and forth and help one another out.
Yeah, that's really cool. So how does this affect your relationship with 7 Days Lost? Is there some tension there, even though, because you've been touring a lot and that takes time away from their band? Does it affect the relationship?
I don't believe it affects the relationship. It makes progress of the band. It brings it to a halt. Real difficult when myself and Bundy, who goes out with me from time to time, goes out, and we end up getting I feel it's more of a stalemate kind of thing, like hitting the pause on a game, and it's like, all right, we'll just wait till the Fantastic Four come back together and we can do what we do. And thankfully I'm home now for several months, so I'm hoping that we get some new tunes cranked out, work on some demos, and get the ball moving again.
Yeah, that's cool. So can you tell us a little bit of the bands that you've toured with, like the bigger names, shall we say?
Bigger name. Yeah. I think they're all pretty big names. Tantric being the first, and great bunch of guys. Saving Abel's another one. Puddle of Mud, Saliva. I just came back with Of Like a Storm out of New Zealand. They're currently on tour in Europe with Godsmack right now. I did do one day with Theory of a Dead Man, helping out with their crew. I went to the UK stage managing Davey Suicide, and so that was my first time in the UK, his second time there, and that was a blast. That was a hard 19 straight shows, no days off, and we were beaten into the ground, but it was a hell of a time.
So with touring with these kind of bigger bands, or even not bigger bands, depending on that, wouldn't you prefer playing on stage with them as a drummer rather than helping backstage?
I've been asked that before, and yes, I would prefer to be on drums, behind the band, driving the machine, But what I do is, along with all the other techs out there, it's a great asset to any band, to the camp, to tour packages, because we go out there, we're the first ones on the stage, we're the last ones to get off the stage, and we handle everything to make sure that the people who go through the doors get the best possible show that their favorite bands or new favorite bands can deliver. And it does, I mean, that's where the catch-22 comes in, giving up playtime to help, with the production and packaging of these bands that, we deliver great shows.
Yeah, it seems like you still love it. It's a great opportunity for you. And does it open any doors for 7 Days Lost as for touring and stuff?
We've been working and talking about touring for the last 2 years. There's been talk about us doing, some new tunes, getting stuff cranking, some demos, possibly an album. And there has been a bit more talk throughout the band about us going back out on the road and doing some type of touring and getting back where we were a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that sounds really good. So do you have any really fun stories from being on tour with these bands? Because I'm sure you have quite a few.
Oh, there's...
Can you pick your favorite?
There's about a million and a half.
Crazy stories, anything.
Going and it was in between tour from the Wednesday 13 one and Davey Suicide going out to the UK to open up for Headpiece, headlining tour. And the day before we went and we just binge ate sushi at this all-you-can-eat sushi place, and I think we ended up calculating that we ate like $400 and some worth of sushi and paid like $35 each, and we were starving hungry. About an hour later, hangouts with Wayne Sweeney from Saliva after shows and talking with Damon Starkey was amazing. Just hanging out with Puddle of Mud in the backstage of arenas, pre-show, hearing all these stories, figuring out, new ideas for the bands. I mean, and there's always fun shit going on left and right, and tons of it does go back a lot with Saving Abel. We've always had a good time partying, being guys and playing rock and roll and killing each show as we go.
Yeah. So also with that, do you have a favorite that you've toured with so far?
Soil. I got the opportunity to work for Soil twice, stage manage them on 2 different tours, and I mean they're definitely the heaviest of the bands that I've went out and worked for, so they're a bit more up my avenue when it comes to just the overall style of drums, guitar, vocals, the energy of the songs, and those guys are fantastic. They love to work with everyone, talk, pass ideas, and they pass hookups around. I mean, there are perks to the job.
Yeah, there really are. And with going with that, do you have a least favorite that you toured with that you would like to mention? Or a bad experience, should I say?
Probably 7 Days Lost, because Joe makes us sleep in the van, and for some reason, every now and again, a door or window gets rolled down and opened in the middle of the night, and everyone else gets to sit there really, really cold at 4 a.m. while someone else is snoring away. But
so you're saying your least favorite is your own band?
Just in a sense of teasing.
Sure.
I've returned to every camp that I've ever worked for, time after time after time, and I hold them all just so high up that I really can't pick and choose.
So since 7 Days is your main, band that you tour with, do you have favorite memories with touring with them at all?
Damn, there's a lot of favorite memories of 7 Days. I don't even remember where we were, but I remember at one truck stop, I was teasing the singer I call him the dinosaur, him and the other guitar player, because they're a couple decades older than me and the bassist, and I was giving him some crap about him being slow, but he, with ease, ran me down and tackled me there in the parking lot, and so that was worth a good laugh. And
see, that's what you get.
Yeah.
Can't make fun of them old guys. Look,
no, not at all. Going to Rock Fest, opening up for Marilyn Manson and Hollywood Vampires back in 2016 was really fun. Going to the Whiskey A Go Go, Devil's Night, and opening for Wednesday 13 on Halloween the night after. There's been so many. Probably most of my favorite memories are with 7 Days Lost, though.
Wow, that's amazing. Even to say, when you first started out in your music career, did you ever think you would get this far, being where you are now?
That's a hard one. I think we all have this preconception with music that, I'm going to get a band going, I'm going to play my instrument, I'm going to book shows, and then, we're going to be doing these stages and great venues and arenas and theaters and all this, and no one really knows how much work goes in behind the scenes and playing music, making great songs, trying to devise a show, then the booking, the traveling, getting there. It's tough. I honestly don't recall how far I ever thought I really would go, but I know I'm not there yet.
You're not there yet. What else would you like to achieve?
I would love to get it to where, we're just out and doing 2 solid, good 30, 40 show tours, 2 of them throughout the year, and putting out an album every 2 years, 3 years or so, and helping out and passing it along to all the other Colorado artists that we're close with. I think that's a realistic and a goal that I really would like to achieve.
Yeah, that sounds pretty realistic to me, and it sounds amazing, all the stuff that you've been accomplishing, and I feel like you have a lot more appreciation now for the people that do help you backstage, and now that you're kind of on the same level, as if not even a higher level now, since you've been experiencing so much of this.
I definitely do. The one thing I don't do is mix stage monitors or front of house mix, but there's some veteran techs out there who know amazing tips and tricks that just keep getting passed on, and I have a huge love for roadies, for techs, for house personnel and crew, anyone who helps even move one drum from the floor up to the stage. Honestly, every little bit helps, and anything that anyone ever does, it truly is appreciated.
Well, that's really good. I feel like a lot more people in bands should appreciate the people that help behind stage. So since you do 7 days, do you know of any shows that you're going to play coming up?
Currently, the biggest show that we have coming up is we are opening for Texas Hippie Coalition, and this is going to be the first time in several months that it's going to be the core band lineup. Mike Trejo, Joe Vallejos. But I'm really stoked to have a killer rehearsal space that we have set up, and we've been hashing stuff out. There's a couple other Colorado gigs I know that are coming up right after the Texas Hippie Coalition show, and then the following month we have a show booked with Head PE. They're coming out, and those are all great shows that we have coming up.
Yeah, that's really cool. So I'm sure you're very excited to be back. Texas Hippie Coalition, sorry. Yeah, you better be out there to go see them and meet Danny. And make sure you give your love and appreciation to everyone that helps backstage, especially the roadies for 7 days and 7 days as usual. I'm Kalie Martinez for Access Unlimited TV. Thank you for watching.